Today I want to talk about a genuinely interesting, technical detail of the new Ferrari SF-26. I'm talking about the engine cover, which has a particular shape that's decidedly different from all the other cars we've seen so far. Looking at the Ferrari from above, especially in the rear area, one thing immediately stands out. There's no Coke bottle shape that characterizes Mercedes, for example. In its place, there's this engine cover that's quite substantial, both in length and height. It's narrow, very tall, and extends tremendously, almost touching the rear wing. The English call it a serrated shark fin because it really resembles those vertical fins that some sharks have on their backs. But why has Ferrari made such a different choice compared to other teams, especially compared to Mercedes, which has a wider, lower engine cover with softer shapes? The answer lies in the power unit architecture and aerodynamic research. Stay with me because what I'm about to explain is truly fascinating. When you look at Mercedes and Ferrari from above, you immediately see two completely different design philosophies at work. Mercedes chose a more traditional engine cover approach. Wider, less developed in height, with smooth geometric shapes that flow organically. Ferrari instead did the exact opposite. Extremely narrow engine cover, very tall in profile, and extremely long extending almost to the rear wing. It all starts with where you decide to place the power unit components. The radiators that cool the control units, the MGUK, the gearbox oil, all these critical components need to go somewhere in the car's architecture. If you put them up high, inside the engine cover itself, then the cover becomes wider and more voluminous to accommodate them. Ferrari instead chose to lower all these components as much as physically possible. They've hidden them in the lower part of the car, probably even inside the side pods, which are indeed quite developed in width to house these systems. This strategic choice allows Ferrari to have a narrow and tall cover instead of wide and low. But why complicate life with this solution? What advantage does it bring? The advantage is all in the aerodynamics, specifically in how air reaches the rear wing and how efficiently it can work. The rear wing produces between 500 and 600 kilograms of vertical load, which is absolutely fundamental for keeping the car glued to the ground through corners. But this downforce works well only if the air reaching the wing is clean, without turbulence or disruption. If the air is full of vortices and turbulence, the wing works poorly and produces significantly less load than its potential. This is exactly why Ferrari's engine cover is made this way. It serves to channel air as cleanly as possible toward the rear wing. It's narrow to not disturb lateral flows around the car. It's long to guide air all the way to the wings smoothly. And it's tall for an even more important reason I'll explain shortly. If you look carefully at Ferrari's engine cover, you'll see it's not smooth at all. It has steps, serrations as it descends downward toward the rear of the car. These steps aren't there for beauty or aesthetic purposes. They have a very precise aerodynamic purpose: reducing vortices. Where there are sharp edges and discontinuities in bodywork, turbulence naturally forms, and these carefully designed steps are engineered to control and reduce these vortices as much as possible. This is exactly why it's called serrated in English. It's not a simple smooth shark fin like you might see on other cars, but a carefully worked fin specifically designed to manage airflow in the best possible way for maximum aerodynamic efficiency. But the most intelligent part of this entire solution is the cover's height. Why so incredibly tall? The answer lies in what happens in corners, particularly fast corners. When you're taking a fast sweeper, say at 280 to 290 kilometers per hour, the car positions itself sideways relative to the airflow direction. At that moment, the air no longer arrives straight at the rear wing, but hits it from the side at an angle. And here's the critical problem. The rear wing in these challenging conditions works terribly, loses efficiency dramatically, produces significantly less load than it should. Having a very tall engine cover helps tremendously in this difficult situation. That tall fin functions somewhat like a protective shield that helps protect the rear wing from transverse flows. It helps direct air better even when the car is angled in the corner, reducing the negative effects of that lateral impact. Basically, it improves the wing's function precisely in the most difficult conditions, meaning fast corners where downforce is absolutely critical. So, Ferrari's choice is clear. Sacrifice some aesthetic cleanliness to have a rear wing that works better in corners. There's another important reason behind these design choices. With the new 2026 regulations, cars have lost approximately 30% of downforce compared to 2025. We're talking about roughly 1,000 kilograms of vertical load less, which needs to be recovered somehow through clever engineering solutions. Ferrari is trying to recover this lost downforce using every possible aerodynamic trick available. On one side, there's that slot on the diffuser I talked about in another video. On the other, there's this specifically designed engine cover to maximize rear wing efficiency. Every little kilo of extra load counts tremendously in Formula One, where margins are incredibly tight. I have to be honest, aesthetically, this Ferrari doesn't drive me crazy. It's not beautiful and clean like other cars we've seen. However, I understand there's probably a reason. These shapes are dictated by aerodynamic research, not aesthetics. But there's one thing about the livery that really bothers me. Ferrari put white on the engine cover and cockpit area, and in my opinion, they should have added a green stripe next to the red one. It would have recalled the historic livery of the '76 Ferrari T2 by Niki Lauda, and would have honored the Italian tricolor. We're Italian. Ferrari is Italy's emblem in the world. It's the made-in-Italy product par excellence in Formula One. That green stripe is missing, and in my opinion, it's a flaw. The graphics should have been better curated, the tricolor should have been inserted, but well, that's my personal opinion. Beyond aesthetics, what matters is whether this technical solution actually works. Wind tunnel data and CFD simulations say it should work well, but the real proof will be on track. I'm confident this serrated shark fin can actually deliver those extra kilos of downforce that make the difference per lap. So let's recap. Ferrari chose an engine cover completely different from others. Narrow, very tall, extremely long, with serrated steps. It's the opposite of Mercedes, which has a wide, low, soft cover. The difference comes from power unit layout. Ferrari lowered all heavy components to be able to have this particular cover. The advantages are clear. Air arrives cleaner at the rear wing without turbulence. The steps control vortices, and especially the fin's height helps tremendously in corners when the car is sideways and air hits the wing laterally. In those difficult conditions, this solution should make the wing work better. It's all part of the strategy to recover the 1,000 kilograms of downforce lost with new regulations. Together with the diffuser slot, this cover should maximize rear load. It's a refined and intelligent solution, even if aesthetically it's not the best. My criticism about the livery remains. The green of the tricolor is missing. It should have been there. But what's important is that it works on track, and on this I'm optimistic. We'll see in testing if the wind tunnel was right.